What is up, everybody? I can't believe this is our 33rd episode of The Hobby with Cage. 30-second one. If you're looking for it, I apologize. It was our drip episode on Friday. It said I was simulcasting to YouTube, but the video is nowhere to be found. So I'll make sure I get that one fixed. If you happen to be looking at this one on YouTube now, go ahead and get a laugh in. I spent a little too much time poolside here on July 3rd. Normally don't get nice long weekends like this, and just really was out all day today worshiping the sun. And now my face, you can hardly see it against the red brick background that I even put on a white bleaker trading hat to really get the contrast going for you. Hey, look, it is what it is, guys. It'll be a quick one today. I hope you guys are all enjoying a long weekend. I hope nobody had to work today. The guys who did, thank you. My garbage men worked today. That was awesome. People came and picked up the trash, which was, I appreciate that. Hope you guys all have a happy and safe 4th of July. I'm going to start the episode off with something I've never really done. Never done this. I don't really ask for anything. I guess maybe every now and again I've asked for, hey, if you like this, give it a like, give it a subscribe, right? Subscriber numbers are pretty static. They go up a couple of subscribers here and there every now and again. I don't really, yell at you, hey, if you like it, smash the button and subscribe and all that stuff. I try not to ask. This is free content. I hope you guys are enjoying it. I hope it gives you something to listen to. But I'm going to start it off a minute and a half in here and ask you to do something. If you are listening to this, I'm going to ask you to check in on a hobby friend. Someone who you talk to in the hobby, someone you had a deal with, someone you've chatted about. Maybe you're both Ken Griffey Jr. collectors, and 6 months ago you had a good conversation about what Griffeys to buy, and you name it. And you've talked sporadically here and there ever since, but you haven't talked to them in a while. Maybe it's just somebody from a group or whatever it is. Maybe someone in person. You haven't spoke about them. Haven't spoke about cards with them in a while. We'll call it a hobby check-in. And I'm going to talk today, keep it brief, about why I think it matters. I had somebody check in on me today, and it was after I did a couple of hobby check-ins myself. And it's, it gets the conversations going. It gets the talking going. I'll give you credit. Bro Namath sent me a message today, just checking in, how's everything going? How are the kids? That kind of stuff. Not someone I've seen him in person maybe twice, at card events, national, that kind of stuff. But yeah, just checking in on the health, checking in, you name it. And you feel like, all right, well, somebody's out there listening, somebody's out there caring, and, somebody out there, wants to make sure you're doing good. And here's why I think it matters. The hobby is an interesting place. I know mostly men listening here, but we do have some women listening. So I was going to say a bachelor party, but, you get a bachelorette party, any kind of, get together. You ever been to Vegas or Atlantic City or wherever you might gamble, whatever casino you're at, with a group? And everybody kind of goes to the same blackjack table, the same roulette table, same craps table. The whole party, the whole crew of 5 or 8 or 10 of you are there. And you're kind of all betting together. You're all, betting together. And the dice are hot, right? The dealer keeps busting, or the numbers are hitting on roulette. We're going to bet on red 5 times in a row, and red came out 4 out of 5 times, and we're just going to keep doubling up. And there's a certain excitement that comes with that, right? There's a certain excitement that comes with we're all in this together and we're all winning together, right? You're playing blackjack. Everybody's sitting down at the same table, and, everybody got 20s, 21s, and the dealer breaks. Boom. It's high fives, right? It's wow, what are we going to do with this? Hey, we got a couple great hands in a row. Where are we spending this? What are we doing after this? Where are we going out to eat? Where are we going out to drink after this? And everybody's kind of it's got like a party atmosphere. And it's easy when everyone's winning, right? It's easy when the money is being made. It's easy when it's high fives. Everybody wants to be a part of it. Even more people come. Right? That craps table is popping, people are clapping and people are cheering, and everybody's high-fiving it, and you even get more onlookers, right? Maybe people hang around, maybe people watch what you're doing. Maybe people try to join in with what you're doing because they see that the going is good, right? They see that you're on a little bit of a hot streak. You see that stuff is going well for you and for the people around you. That was the hobby for a lot of us in late 2020, early 2021, even late 2021. The hobby was something I would compare to those types of moments where the entire group was eating. Everybody was betting. We were all beating the house. Everybody was betting on red, and red was coming in more often than it was not. The unfortunate part about that is that's just not something that is sustainable, right? And anybody who's spent enough time at a casino knows that if you stay at that table long enough, eventually you're going to be the one who's sitting there at 3 a.m. after all of your friends have cashed in, after they've all pushed in and colored up and taken their chips and gone to bed. But you're sitting there still hoping for that next heater, hoping for the next run, hoping for the next time that you bet 5 times in a row and red comes up all 5 of them, or the dice get hot again for you. And that's kind of where the hobby is now. A lot of people in the hobby right now are sitting at the tables at 2, 3 a.m. and the rest of their parties have left. The rest of their crews have gone away. They've gone to sleep, or they've left. They've left the casino. They've stopped playing. Nobody had to check in on that friend during the time where everything was going good. Nobody had to give a hobby check-in when you could see on Instagram the moves being made by everybody, the trades being made, the purchases being made one day and sold the following week for double the price. When everybody was able to somehow pick up a magic penny outside of the Dallas card show and turn it into a Michael Jordan PSA 10 by the end of the day. When the going was good, everybody was smiling. Everybody was happy. Eventually, though, that train reaches a station called reality. People are either going to get off or stay on. This is the interesting part here, right? Because this is where folks who came into this recently get a feel for collecting, get a feel for what this, quote, hobby was before this crazy run up, this crazy bubble, this crazy, boom cycle that we've had for the last 4 or 5 years. It was a lot quieter. There were a lot less people. There were a lot less high fives at the blackjack table. You also didn't have a hard time getting to the $5 tables to put a hand down. Think about that for a second. Anybody who's ever been at the Borgata on a Saturday night or any of the fancy Vegas hotels, you can't find a $5 blackjack table. So everybody's gambling. That's what the hobby's been like the last couple of years. You can't get that $5 hand and just have some fun. A lot of collectors are sitting there waiting, hoping that the $5 table opens back up. It's an interesting play between the two sides. But what I'm talking to now are the folks who are listening to this. The folks who are thinking to themselves, what do I do next? Right? Well, as you're listening to this, I guarantee you know somebody out there who could use a hobby check-in. Somebody who you can just send a message to on IG and say, hey, everything going all right? All good? They don't always get responded to. I can tell you guys right now, I sent a message a week ago to Sasha T because I've mentioned him on the show a couple times. I said, hey, I haven't seen him. Hope he's doing all right. See what he's up to. See what he's doing these days. I have not yet received a response. I hope I do. Maybe somebody hears this and says, hey, Sasha, reach out to Cage. Just tell him you're doing okay. We've seen a lot of folks come into the hobby and leave. I personally have seen people come into the hobby and leave. I saw somebody who was a mainstay, and it looked like they were, starting to pull away a little bit. And this is where kind of the rubber hits the road, guys. This is not me saying reach out to them and say, you got to stay. No, the absolute opposite, really. Sometimes that person has gone down a path that maybe is not even healthy for them. But you're not going to know that until you check in. You're not going to know that until you send a message and say, hey, just making sure you're all good. If you need anything, just let me know. It's kind of my standard fare. I sent one of those out this week and I got back, hey, all good. Everything's great here. And then an hour later, I got back, hey, I wasn't being honest. I'm not okay. I'm not exactly sure how to explain this. And, the conversation is, well, talk to me. Is it hobby, personal? What's the deal? And it turns out that it's hobby. This person feels like maybe they spent a little bit too much money. A lot of negativity in the IG space and on YouTube is getting to them. And it was a space that they were getting into and thinking it was something different than what it really is right now. That happens with extremes, right? When you get in, when the going's good, all of a sudden the script is flipped. And now there's a lot more negativity, a lot less money being made. This person says right out the bat, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but sometimes you need to step away. It's constant. It's a constant barrage of this scammer, that scammer, this person, this losing money. And this person told me, hey, I feel burnt out. I feel burnt out by the hobby. It's something that I think I need to, take a step away from. And of course, what I said was, do it. This is supposed to be fun. This is a hobby. It is something you are supposed to go to escape the rigors and dramas of your real life. And if this is a place where you get to spend your free time, and that free time is causing you issues, it's actually, making you stay up at night, causing you additional stress, that's a problem. All right. And I'm glad I checked in because, what I spoke to this individual about was I said, a hobby can be a lot. And when you're losing money, obviously it makes it even worse. Some people understand the macroeconomic picture as well. And you start to, bounce off. Wow. Who knows what the economy is going to do? Who knows what the market's going to do? Should I be this leveraged in cards? Should I have that much stuff out there? Sometimes they need to hear from you, me, that you're selling. It makes them feel better. It doesn't mean you're exiting the hobby. Here I am doing an episode on July 3rd with my bright red face so that I could talk to you guys about, a fun little thing that happens here in the hobby. Doesn't mean I'm leaving, but there's nothing wrong with selling. And sometimes during that hobby check-in with your friend, maybe they think, wow, I can't sell. I can't sell. And I say, you gotta sometimes take stock. Because if holding those cards is causing you stress, but selling some might put you in a better fiscal position, well, isn't that the right way to do it? Wouldn't that take some of the stress off you, right? That's the key, right? So one of the things we talked about in this hobby check-in was the episode I did last week talking about hobby cycles. I didn't mean to scare anybody, but I've been through this a couple of times now. And it's very fair to think that we've gone through a hobby cycle here, like we did in the late 80s, early 90s, and then again 2003-ish, and again right now, 2018 to now, and then the next one might not be until 2035 or 2040. And that if your goal here is to put your money in cards and have outsized gains from them, that might not be what happens. And I explained this stuff. I said, listen, you have to sell and then figure out what you need, figure out what what is going to allow you to stay in this hobby and not be stressed out about the amount of money you have tied up in it. And you're worried about the prices going down. The response I got was, this is exactly what I need to do. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Have you sold everything? No, I went through some of the stuff that I sold. This person happens to think that things may be going down further. And I said, well, if that is what you think, then you probably should start moving some stuff. They said they're going to have a hard look at their PC, right? And, we talked about where to sell it, you name it, and how to do it, and all that other fun stuff. So, the last part of it, though, is, and here's, I guess, if you're going to be checking in on somebody and you wind up going down this road in this conversation, you don't want to lose this person from the hobby, right? Because something brought them here. Something was fun. Something they enjoyed. Now, you hope it wasn't just money. You hope it wasn't just they showed up at the blackjack table and said, you know what? There's some easy money to be made. Look at this. this dealer keeps busting. You hope it wasn't that. You hope that, it was some nostalgia, something that drew them back. And here was what I did, right? I said, find something in this hobby that you enjoy. And you know what? Even if it's not this hobby, find something else you enjoy, right? Because you're only going to have, X amount of free time. And if you're using your free time in this hobby and it's causing you stress, it doesn't make sense. But if this hobby, cards, you name it, is something you enjoy, here was what I said. Find something that right now that you can collect without killing your wallet. I specifically asked, hey, when you were a kid, did you like G.I. Joe? Yeah, I mean, who didn't like G.I. Joe? I said, well, let me make a suggestion. The last Transformers movie ended with a nice little Easter egg where they're bringing in G.I. Joe into the equation. Maybe like Alien vs. Predator, Freddy vs. Jason. It's going to be G.I. Joe and the Transformers combined in a movie maybe next year. Who knows? So did you know that in 1986, Hasbro made G.I. Joe cards? No. Most people don't. They're odd. They're full color, kind of rounded edges. But the cards cost next to nothing. I sent a picture of a Probstein PSA 8 that ended for $7.50, graded card. I said, look, it's PSA 8, $7.50. Have fun. And if G.I. Joe's not your thing, pick something else. And that was a hobby check-in. And my hope is that this person reevaluates their position, takes a look at their PC. We've had this. I don't need to rehash that episode. You guys can find, auditing your PC. But I do think it makes sense to do it, especially when you're feeling down. You're feeling like the hobby is a drag. You're feeling like maybe your money is better spent somewhere else. Or maybe that you just have too much tied up in this stuff. Maybe it's not what you thought it was going to be. Take a look. And then maybe reassess and find something that you are going to enjoy. You guys all know I like buying Goonies stuff. That's fun. Makes me think of when I was a kid. Makes me think of when I was, 10 years old. A favorite movie. I love the autographs. I love people send me, stuff. I also break Pokemon with my son because he enjoys pulling shiny cards that I have no idea what the hell they are. We've done a significant shift in how we break. I still now for over 3 years have broken product with my son every Friday. But in late 2021, early 2022, I told my LCS that I would not break a box that cost more than $200. And we specifically stay well under that. But he was ordering everything because that was the way that it was, right? The hobby was getting crazy. And, Prism boxes were $1,400 or just crazy stuff. And, I was opening boxes and getting garbage in them. And really what this was a Friday kind of, let's have some fun, open some cards, with my kid. He can't be breaking the bank and over again, me saying, hey, buddy, I'm sorry we didn't get anything good. Hey, buddy, I'm sorry this kind of sucked. I'm sorry we didn't hit the card you wanted to hit. So we switched, and now we're opening Pokemon because it doesn't kill you. Right? ETBs are $35, $40. Even if you go with a full, booster box, $100, $110. There's always something in it. Usually something to grade. Could get something really good. More money, back. It was part of reassessing the situation. And now I do have a feeling that prices are going to continue to come down. Retail will be more available. This past week, Bowman mega boxes were available and they were not, a killer price. It was fun to open with the little mojo cards in them. Anyway, I give you this fun little story here. We're approaching 20 minutes. I want to keep it short because I'm sure you guys have a million things to do to get ready for 4th of July. And I don't want to put a damper on it. I think that, there's a lot of excitement leading into National. I'm excited for it myself. But the hobby check-in, it was relevant to me today because, out of the blue, somebody reached out to me. And out of the blue, I've reached out to a couple people and wound up having conversations that I think were helpful. I think were needed. And you never know what's going on in somebody's life, right? You never know, what they're going through that moment, that day, that week. And I do think that one of the cool aspects of our hobby, maybe more than most, is the community, right? Some people talk about collecting PSA 10s. Some people talk about collecting, Ken Griffey Jr. or Mike Trout. I think we're all collecting hobby friends, And that's part of it, right? We're all building up this community here, and it's easy to say you're part of this community and friends with people when the going is good. It's easy when no one needs that checkup, when it's just sitting at the table high-fiving and everybody's making money. This is the time where it's actually needed. This is the time where a hobby check-in might actually matter. This is the time where the hobby community can pull together and, actually be there for someone who may need it. Now, you may reach out to somebody and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Of course I'm here. I just ripped all these cards and I'm going to them. Great. No harm, no foul. Just checking in, saying hello, refreshing the friendship. But you never know. You never know who might not be in the best position. I might need to hear it's okay to sell some cards. Maybe you tell them a story about how you sold some cards a year or two ago and put you in a better fiscal position. Maybe you're able to, buy something for your kids or go on vacation and then come back and boom, back into the hobby. Let's check in on folks. That's what makes this hobby awesome. That's it. 21 minutes, guys. I appreciate you. I won't ask you to like, subscribe, or do anything crazy like that. I just ask you to check in on your friends. Talk to you soon.